I have about 8 slides to go through, and then I'm going to dive right into the worksheet that we use to do the actual budgeting. So we'll just kind of go and show you how we do that, and you can apply that to your organization and see if there's a fit. We really like these presentations to be interactive. So there's a chat feature there on the right on your little panel. Toss questions in there anytime they come up. I'll either address them right away or wait to the end. And if Jace, if you see some questions come in, you can relay them to me. But as we get started, my name again, Brandon Van Cleve, president here at Pine Cove Consulting. And today we want to talk to you, get my screen going. Just want to talk to you about IT budgeting. So our company provides IT services. We sell products and solutions to organizations like yours. But one thing that we've noticed is we love to sell things to our customers, but we also like to do it in a strategic way where we have a plan and make sure we're being a good steward for your organization. And so this is something that we've developed over the last 10, 15 years of just a tool to help our customers and us help our customers create a plan and a vision and a kind of a sustainability model for the IT components of their organization. And so that's what we're going to do today. So we'll talk a little bit about who we are. We'll talk about IT budgeting and sustainability strategies that we've seen and what we've recommended to our customers. We'll create a sample IT budgeting plan. So I'll open up the worksheet, like I said, and we'll kind of just show how it operates. And keep in mind the worksheet that we use, we will share out. If anyone is interested in the spreadsheet, we'll send it to you. I think it helps when we are a part of that conversation. I think there's some intricacies that we certainly could add some value to, but if this is a tool you think you want to take and run with or at least play around with, we'll send it to you after the presentation. This will also be recorded, and Jace, who is on the call and is our director of marketing, he'll be sending out the recording to you as well. And then we'll ask questions at the end or whenever they pop in. So first, who is Pinecove? So like I said, we're an IT solution provider, service delivery company. We're based in Bozeman, Montana. As you can see from our map, we work in a lot of different areas. We work in some larger urban areas, a lot of rural areas, basically anywhere where people are underserved, whether it's just a staffing issue or just want some outside expertise. That's where we like to fit in and fill in whatever gap you have. So we've been in business for over 28 years. We support about 27,000 users a day, and we specialize in solving complex issues. So things that are, whether it's sustainability planning like this or, designing a wireless network or a cybersecurity practice, all the different services that we provide, it's wherever you want us to start and stop. We have customers that have us design a plan for them and we help them implement it and then give them the keys and they run with it. Other organizations like us to be involved ongoing as well. So, we can design the implementation or design the solution, implement it, support it on the back end. So kind of full turnkey or wherever you want us to start and stop. And I talked about this a little bit in that last slide, but this is kind of the process that we feel like the organizations that use this in this capacity get kind of the best bang for their buck, where we are a part of the whole plan. So we can analyze what your needs are, give our expertise of what we've seen in the IT industry specifically or your vertical specifically, design a plan, deploy it, support it for you, and then work on sustaining it. How do we keep this refreshed? And that's kind of what we'll focus on today. But that's what we're about. So kind of getting to what is the purpose of IT budgeting? Again, as we've seen over the years of providing consulting services to our customers, number one, we see sometimes a disconnect between the people purchasing the items and the people supporting them. So basically the financing people and the IT people, we want to help avoid these spur of the moment decisions or the disconnect in communication of what we're expecting for IT purchases now, year 2, year 3, year 10, and really work as a team to make sure we mitigate the surprises. Obviously, things change in IT, and things fluctuate up and down for costs, but we just want to try to give a better vision and just to avoid these surprises. We want to prevent technology downtime and stress. So you'll see we talk a lot about refresh cycles and how important that is to make sure our equipment is staying relevant. It's not getting obsolete, and it's not getting out of warranty where our firewall blows up in the middle of the night and we are down for a week. Most organizations cannot take that kind of hit. So that's another thing. We want to make sure our equipment's refreshed in a suitable manner. And so we'll go through a little bit of that. And so not only prevention of downtime and stress, but how do we accelerate your organization? Obviously, IT components are made to be an accelerant of how you operate, making things work more efficiently, faster. And so that's important that we keep the technology. We don't want the technology dragging us down. We want it to accelerate what we're trying to do as an organization. We want to protect against technology threats. So we want to stay relevant. We want to stay secure. All the different things that go into IT and the ever-changing landscape of IT. We want to protect against those threats that are coming. And we just want to be proactive and not reactive. We want to mitigate surprises, like we said, in purchasing and planning out our budget for IT. And so that's the purpose of why we're doing this. Some of the big IT budgeting rules that we live by. Number one is, like I said, knowing your refresh cycles. I think it's really important to know the longevity of every solution that you have and making sure we have a plan to replace it and refresh it. We want to align with equipment warranties. So we are pretty adamant that any kind of major important infrastructure that we have from an IT perspective is under warranty, where if something were catastrophic were to happen to that hardware, we have a quick replacement plan that's attached to that warranty. So that's a big one for us as we talk to our customers. And then we want to decide on a procurement method. And so we have a mixed bag with our customers of how they procure their equipment. Capital expenditures being more of buying it outright and having different chunks of expenditures throughout multiple years and trying to balance that. And I'll show you that's the most typical that we see. But we also see people moving a lot of their IT expenditures into an operational expense, where we can maybe finance that equipment and stretch that payment over a certain period of time, or the longevity of the equipment. And it gets rid of kind of that roller coaster feel of our budget, where we may have a lot of expenditures this year and very little the next year. We can soften those spikes and just try to have a more easy down. The last one is just accurately estimate cost of future purchases. So as we know, prices go up and down on different things. Renewals are different with different companies, and so we want to look at that as well. So now we'll go into the budget. So this is just a little snapshot of the main dashboard that we use. And so I'll kind of refer to this in the spreadsheet, but this is kind of the home where this gives you a nice snapshot of all the data that we plug into this thing. We can see where we're at from a cost per year, cost per solution, how that breaks down, what percentage of our budget's going to different types of solutions inside of our IT budget. And so this is kind of this is the dashboard. So let me go right into it. So I believe, Jace, let me know if you can't see that spreadsheet, but I moved over to the spreadsheet now. So again, this is that spreadsheet dashboard component. This example is a school district-based one. So we do a lot of work in K-12. And so we base some of the budgeting numbers not only on staff versus students, which is certainly good to break that out. We looked at a cost per user analysis. So we can look at how much technology you're spending per user or per student versus maybe the school district down the road, or if you're an organization, you're a healthcare organization, what does your IT budget look like compared to some of the averages that we see with other customers? That's kind of some of the pieces in this dashboard. So as we dive in, so this is kind of the output that we see from all the stuff that we input. So I'll go into the input component of this. So basically what we do, and we can, the idea behind this budget is it can be as granular or as general as you want it to be. So if you want to get very detailed on this budget to improve accuracy, it's all built in here. So let me show you that, for example. So this is where we would start with networking. So think of switching and routing, kind of the infrastructure and the ports that make everything run and tick inside your organization. This is where we can break out that build, basically building out your networking infrastructure. We can break it down between, as you can see, we're talking edge switches, we're talking core switches, we're talking throughput, and really could design this out with you, or maybe you have this information and you can build it. I think where we can be a nice asset as you go through this process is helping you with some costing. We sell a lot of products to a lot of customers, so we can very quickly come up with some easy access budgetary numbers for these things, and also can give you some good install numbers. If you typically outsource some of these projects, we can help you with budgeting what it's going to take to deploy something like this. So we can do that with you one-on-one. We also have a survey that we can send out. So we have some customers that will send the survey. They'll give us this information, number of ports, number of IDFs, and we can build it out just from, I think it's a 40-part questionnaire. We can build out the whole budgetary starting point with you, and then we just work with refresh cycles that we both agree to, or that you agree to, and then you have a 10-year sustainability plan in, probably an hour or two. So that's kind of how we do that. So this is networking. You can see firewall. We have the questions that we would ask, or you can fill in the different components that would go into your firewall. Wireless, we're talking, 4x4 radios, some different solutions that go in that, indoor, outdoor. Here's some of the questions that we would ask you that I think help us determine what those costs would be, and number of ports and installs and install numbers and all those things. You could see servers, all the different components that go into servers. We have cybersecurity in here. As you can see, a lot of questions here. We have a lot of different solutions, and there's a lot of different things to take into consideration when you're talking cybersecurity. We have endpoints. So as you can see, this one is pretty diverse because this is based for a K-12 organization. But taking all the different types of components or type of endpoints that they have, putting a dollar amount to them and giving them a total cost. We have classroom display. And this is kind of a summarized view of this. We have some customers that will expand out 20 to 30 tabs. They'll have every software that they use. They may even put classroom equipment, desks, monitors, all that stuff. You can expand this as far as you want to go. And so that is where we collect all the data, as you can see, through all these different tabs. As we do that, you'll see they start to summarize here on this page. So as you can see, networking, we came up with, for this sample organization, it would take $134,000 to roll out a networking upgrade or a refresh. You can see that number right here. That's how we come up with the numbers. We do that hand in hand with you, or you can do it on your own, like I said. From there, like I talked about in the beginning, we talk about rotation schedule. So this number can be whatever you think it needs to be. If you need to get 7 years out of your switches, you can throw seven in here and change that number to 7. Obviously, the cost per year would go down. As you can see, we have some recommendations in here. So we think there are some concerns with trying to stretch out switches for more than 5 years, but it's your organization, it's your network, it's your IT environment. So your answer is the right answer, but we are here to provide some guidance. And sometimes you can look at some ways to extend some warranties and some licensing where maybe we can take advantage of a longer rotation schedule if we do certain parameters to make sure it's sustainable. So that's basically what we'd do next. We'd go through all the different components, talk about the rotation schedule, and basically the period of time before this equipment becomes obsolete or is on it's heading towards obsolescence. And that's how we come up with our cost per year analysis to say, basically, to handle, in this example customer, they have just under $1 million of IT infrastructure that they have to maintain. But if they look at that from an annual perspective, it makes them understand, it calculates in the rotation schedule to say, okay, our budget roughly is $263,000 a year to sustain these components. If we're missing components in here, if you want to add software and all those things to this budget, we just drop them in very easily. So that's that part. You can see from there, we can break down all these different things and look at the graphs. So we can see where our budget goes by solution, what is eating up the majority of our budget. This is a really good process that we do with our customers where we can make them understand where this budget's going. And you can see it in two different graphs here. As you can see with schools, a lot of times they don't realize the bulk of their budget goes to endpoints. And so we've had some good conversations with school districts, higher ed, and even businesses on what are some different ways we can look at endpoints. There's BYOD initiatives. There is looking at the Chrome technology and see if we can get to a lower cost computing device that still answers the bell for all the things we need to do in our organization. So we can help kind of manipulate those numbers and see if we made this change, what would that do for our budget? And so that's kind of these two components. And I can break it down even more. So like I said, with endpoint, I can look, so as you can see here on the bottom left, I changed to endpoint. I can see the breakdown of, where are the majority of our budget going? In this case, Chromebooks is the majority. 135,000 of our 330,000 goes there. Maybe a takeaway is, we have 120,000 of Windows laptops. Could we move more of those to Chromebooks? Just a question or an example that we would go through with our customers. So I can go through all these different components. It spits out all different types of information for us to break down. So that's that piece. The last piece here inside this this worksheet is basically looking at this from a year-by-year analysis. So all that data that we threw into all these different tabs here collects itself right here and then summarizes up here. So I have all my wireless devices, or wireless technology that goes into my budget. This example, we did an upgrade, or this school district did an upgrade in 2019. So what does that mean for our upcoming years? And so we can roll that out every 3 years and look at the planned expenditures that we're going to have from 2021 all the way to 2031 or beyond. So we can start by using the refresh calculator, the rotation schedule calculator. We can see what expenditures are coming up in the future and can roll that out and year by year have a really good plan. So we have some of our customers use this as, it is their end all be all document for IT purchases. They look at this every fiscal year and say, so let's say for 2021, they know they're going to spend $237,750 in IT purchases for these components that year. In 2022, they're expecting $466. So we have customers that use this for everything. We have others that just use this as a nice barometer to, again, avoid some of these large surprises of, oh man, we forgot that we needed to upgrade our wireless this year, and that's a $75,000 cost. You do not want to be surprised by that. And so that's the idea that we use when we go year by year. So this example is basing it on your typical rotation schedule. I bought this equipment in this year with a 3-year rotation schedule. In 3 years, it's going to remind me I have this cost coming up. We also have, you can see right here, is the financing option. So one thing that we've seen some of our customers do is move all this move this more to an operational expenditure. And where we've seen that the most successful is if we have organizations that have fallen way behind on where they should be from an IT perspective. It is so hard to get caught up with just buying things in a typical capital expenditure procurement model. So we've offered to them, why don't you look at this from a capital or operational expense, finance all this, get everything upgraded the way you need to, stretch that payment out over the longevity of the equipment that you purchased. And now you have a nice, I mean, I think it's almost impossible to get this clean of a budgeting look. But that's the idea, where instead of having 1 year of 263 and the next year is 500 and up and down and up and down, if we can get everything in a financed operational expense where we're paying a monthly or annual payment for all of our technology, it really cleans up the volatility of our budget. And so that's the difference between purchasing as it comes in or as it needs to be refreshed versus from an annual or monthly perspective. So that's basically the worksheet that we use. It's not overly complex. I think where it can get complex is figuring out some of the details in it of what does the networking upgrade really cost me? What is a realistic rotation schedule? What are some of the gotchas that may come with extending some life cycles on some of our equipment? All those things is where I think we can assist you in just our experience. Certainly there's plenty of ways to get some of this information, but we've just seen a lot of things. We've been around doing IT budgeting, working with organizations on their IT spend for a long time. So we've seen a lot of things that work, and we've seen a lot of things that can be butt kickers. So that's the spreadsheet. If there's any questions that are popping up, Jace, make sure you throw them my way. But that's basically it. So as far as what you can do to engage with us, there's two ways. If you just want this spreadsheet to play around with, reach out to us and we'll send it to you. No questions asked, no hooks there. You can just utilize it however you want. Ways you can work with us. Obviously, we can help with procurement. That's about 80% of our business is procuring equipment for organizations. So if you need help with configuring one of your solutions, or you just want to see a competitive price and have us compare against maybe some other vendors that you use currently, I think you'd be surprised at the competitiveness that we have. We are very competitive from a national scale when it comes to pricing, and I think our special sauce is helping you engineer your solution, whatever that is. If you need to build out a new wireless system, I think it would behoove you to use a company like ours that really knows the ins and outs of how to properly design wireless and making sure it's the most efficient and works how it should work. So your end users, whether they're students or employees, have the working experience they need to thrive. We can help you with the budgeting sustainability plan, or we can just talk anything and everything IT. That's what we do. We always start with conversations first. So if there's ever a challenge that you have that you want to get some outside opinion on, give us a call. We don't charge anything for our consulting. That's not how that's not our business model. The business model is to help you and consult with you, and then hope that we can work with you on some of those procurement items. Okay. 11:25. Jace, is there any questions out there?
No questions that have come through yet. The recording will be emailed one day after. We've got it programmed right now to send one day after this webinar concludes. So if you do have questions that you think of after that, you can reply to that email or get a hold of us at the sales@pinecc.com email address, and we'll get back to you either way.
Cool. I guess I can wrap up there. We're right at the bottom of the hour here. So again, thanks for joining, and please reach out if there's anything we can do to assist your organization. Thanks so much.